There is a lot going on in State of Decay 2, and it's filled with a lot of little things that you may have missed, and it can get a little confusing. We took the time to compile some tips to help ease you into playing. Today in gameranx, here are 10 things you need to know when starting a new game in State of Decay 2. Starting off at number 10, in the early game before you have outposts set up to supply a constant stream of certain supplies, you're going to rely heavily on supply rucksacks. They're super easy to find, there's never a problem finding them, they're everywhere. The problem is you can only hold one at a time, and they can't be dumped off at outposts, they have to be dumped at your base. So you have to carry them one at a time back and forth to your base. So the best thing to do is to find yourself a car, preferably one that isn't totally beat to shit, fill it with some extra gas, and drive that around, filling the trunk up with rucksacks. You can do that by going over to the trunk, hitting the action button to open it up, and then you've got around 6 extra inventory slots to fill with your findings. Just make sure you have extra gas in there too, because running out of gas when you're far away from your base really sucks. So in the early game, definitely make sure you're driving around. It'll definitely save you some time, and you avoid a headache. Plus, you can cover more ground, and it's really fun to hit zombies with your door. Moving on to number 9, your radio is something that's pretty easy to forget about. I know I always forget about it, but it still has some pretty useful things that you might want to use. For one, you can use it to call in another player for help if you're having a hard time with something, or if you're feeling nice and you want to lend a helping hand, you can use it to volunteer to jump into someone else's game and help out. You can also use it to heal yourself in a pinch, even though you should always have medical supplies on you. That does cost influence points though, so you don't want to rely on that too much. It should really only be kind of like an emergency only thing. And then there's the most useful feature, and that's the good old unstuck button. State of Decay 2 is a little rough around the edges, and you'll find yourself stuck in the environment a lot. And when I say a lot, I really do mean a lot. So much so that Undead Labs gives you a way to backtrack your character a few steps to get you out of whatever wall you're stuck in. So yeah, get ready to use that radio command a lot. And next up at number 8, State of Decay 2 character progression gives you more to do this time around, and the most important quick concept to grasp is that you learn by doing. Each character has cardio, wits, fighting, shooting, and one special area to work with, such as agriculture or medicine. Each of these areas you can level up by doing that specific thing, like fighting or shooting a lot and running long distances. From there you have the choice of leveling them up in a specific direction. Scavenge throughout the world and you can find textbooks that are expendable items that teach one of your characters either that specific skill or it improves it all together. Find it and click the consume button and you're that much better off. Textbooks also often grant quicker access to upgrading different facilities around your base as well. Next up at number 7, when you're scavenging for supplies out in the world, you might come across random objects that seem like junk, an exercise bike, a water cooler, a power tool, an old antenna. Even if they're not jumping out at you, these are actually incredibly useful mods that you can install within your specific facilities to improve life around your camp. Some of these are specific to certain areas like a kitchen or storage area, allowing a mini fridge or an exercise bike connected to a generator, allowing you to power up any room of your choice. Installing a water cooler to any area allows that area to have access to water, allowing it to do or produce more. All of this goes towards better managing resources for your party members and giving yourself better access to healthy, well-rested characters with full stomachs and plenty of bullets. Coming in at number 6, anytime you leave your base, you always want to make sure you bring a follower along with you. When you get into a scuffle, it's nice to have someone else fighting off zombies with you and also distracting zombies, keeping them off of you. It's also great to have access to another inventory as well. So once you fill up your inventory, you can switch to your follower right out in the field, then you have access to a brand new, fresh, empty inventory. Just make sure you're rotating all of these characters in and out because they can become fatigued and injured and will need to sit out a bit. Or you risk them dying and losing them forever. At number 5, keeping morale up is huge because your party members are needy as hell. And the bigger your party gets, the more work you need to put in to both have an efficient base and just keeping them happy. It's tough, but try to keep all of your resources to at least yellow territory so it's at least stable. Run low on food or bullets and dip into the red, and morale is going to drop because characters worry about not being prepared. So keep that stuff up and try to wipe out any nearby infestations at a consistent level that seems to keep them from complaining a bit. Along with that, use small perks and activation around your different base facilities and outposts to keep morale up, like generating espresso or cooking up a nice meal for everyone to keep spirits up. They'll complain constantly if you're not good, so you're going to want to keep up with all of this because they'll all be more efficient. Moving on to number 4, throughout State of Decay 2, you'll have run-ins with Enclaves. These are groups of other survivors that are out in the world trying to survive. They usually ask for help with something, whether it be acquiring a certain item or clearing out a swarm of zombies. Helping them out is a good idea though, because it gets them more on your good side, which leads to them opening up the option to trade with them and maybe even offering up one of their own to join your community and help out. But before you start worrying about other groups, obviously it's important to make sure that you and your group are in good shape, but you don't want to leave these enclaves ignored or get on their bad side. Getting on their bad side will lead to them attacking you, and they're a lot harder to fight than zombies because zombies don't have guns. The enclaves do. So just keep that in mind. You don't need zombies and other survivors out to get you. Moving on to number 3, along with enclaves, you'll also run into wandering traders as well, and just like enclaves, they'll offer up weapons and items that you can't find anywhere else, so trading with them is a good idea. But most of, if not all of these traders are only around for a certain amount of time, so be quick about it. You can trade other rare items you've found out in the world, or you can use influence, influence being the in-game currency that you can earn by killing zombies, completing quests, assisting others, really just from playing the game. Coming in at number 2, there have been numerous times where I head out on a run and realize I forgot to bring health when I really need it, or I didn't realize my melee weapon was about to break. So it's important to make sure you're fully stocked up and ready to head out anytime you go. The status of your melee weapon, if it's ready to break, repair it or switch it out for something else. Make sure that you have enough ammo for whatever gun it is that you're using. Try to treat the gun as an emergency item. Don't really stock up on too much ammo because using a gun is loud, so in most cases you're better off just using a melee weapon. Make sure you bring some consumables to restore your stamina and your health. Also make sure you're using the biggest backpack you have available to you. That might sound like a lot of stuff to bring and worry about, but really it isn't. Just make sure you're bringing the necessities and only bringing what you need, because you're going to want to make sure you're leaving some space in your bag to bring stuff back from your run. Smart inventory management is a big thing in this game, so I recommend figuring it out quick and going from there. And moving on to number 1, while we're on the topic of planning ahead, not only is planning out your inventory important, but also it's important to pay attention to character skills and that you're using the right character for whatever it is you plan on doing. Each character or survivor has different skill sets. Some are better at combat, some have more stamina, some may be a better mechanic. So if you're going out on a run, it's smart to play as someone who has higher stamina so they can outrun zombies and just overall get around quicker. Or play as someone who can search for items quicker. That way you're spending less time searching through bins and more time picking up items. The same goes for you clearing out an infestation or destroying a plague heart. Bring someone who has a higher combat rating or just has higher firearm skill overall. That mixed with a good weapon and you'll be able to hold your own against zombies no problem. Planning is key here. And those are 10 things you need to know when starting a new game in State of Decay 2. But we want to hear from you, so meet us down in the comments and let us know what you think. If you have any other tips or tricks that you want to share with us, let us know. Leave them down in the comments below. And as I'm sure you already know, hitting that like button really helps us out. And if you're new here, subscribing is a good idea because we put out videos like this every single day. As always, thank you for stopping by to hang out with us. We really appreciate it. And we'll see you next time right here on gameranx.